I'm Gary Mavers, and I've had a lifelong obsession with classic cars. I caught the bug when I was just a small child, but since then I've been lucky enough to own and restore many of these rare beauties. Over the years I've learned how to tackle the complex mechanics of these cars, but still managed to indulge my passion along the way. But now I want to share my experiences with you, revealing the joys, the trials, and the tribulations of classic car restoration. Each episode I'll meet fellow classic car enthusiasts to hear their stories, look at their cars, and share their personal experiences. So come with me on my journey as I search from here to Europe and as far as the USA for the cars of my dreams. Discover their unique histories whilst working on them, and bring them back to life. So join me, Gary Mavers, for Classic Obsession. Welcome back to another episode of Classic Obsession. I just want to say how much I appreciate your support over the last 6 weeks. The response has been absolutely incredible. We've got some fantastic videos coming up in the next few weeks, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. So first of all, we move to the anti-roll bar bushes, or drop link bushes as some people call them. Now, in the last video we established that the shock absorber bushes are definitely not being replaced, even though it said so in the service book. So I'm just going to start from scratch and go right through the lot and replace everything. You can actually see the stark difference when I put the old one next to the new one. See how squashed in appearance and how hard the rubber's become. Their job is basically to keep the steering responsive and less vague, taking away any wandering or play or vibration. The trickiest part of this job is to lift the top bar, which is under high tension, away in order to remove the link. I should have used a bottle jack, but because I don't have one, I'm improvising using a crowbar on a jack. Not recommended, guys, unless you want to lose your fingers. With the link back in place, the top hat and nut goes on. If you're having problems, I find that jacking up the hub just a couple of inches will give you just enough thread to be able to get the bottom nut on. Tightened up, job done. The shock rubbers are a joke. I mean, look at that. That's as flat as a Mackey's cheeseburger. So with new bottom rubbers fitted, and then the tops, the shocks are then buttoned down, the wheels are put back on, and I move around to the back. So the next problem on the list was the fuel gauge sender unit, which is stuck on empty, easily accessed by removing the spare wheel. There's a fuel filter. I might as well do that while I'm there. I remove the wires, but connect an earth wire to the green wire. And then I go inside, switch the ignition on, and if the fuel gauge goes to the top, like this, that tells me the problem is in the sender unit itself and not the gauge. So out it comes, and I see my problem right away. Because the car's been sitting up for so long, it's just oxidised and seized in place. Little bit of WD, little bit of a waggle, sorted. That was an easy fix. In it goes, and I'll leave it to you guys. Check the seal when you put it back in. If it looks a bit rough, just replace it. Otherwise, your boot will be full of fumes. Before you remove your fuel filter, find some kind of a container to go underneath it to catch the raw fuel. If you get fuel in your boot, you'll never get rid of the smell. And with the new one fitted, the hose is back in place, buttoned up. That'll do.
The old filter's probably been in there for the last 20 years anyway. So this should make the car run better. Oof. Looks like the airbag in the roof's gone off. This has always been a common flaw with the Jags. Left ignored on a long journey, you could face suffocation. Just bite the bullet, guys. They're really not that expensive. I think the whole kit costs £150 and it comes with extra material to cover the side rails and the rear corners. Off with the ancillaries. And by releasing just 4 simple tabs, the whole thing comes out in one piece. Most people try and repair theirs, but trust me guys when I say it's futile. Made from crumbling sponge, it will literally fall apart in your hands. I mean, look at that. The new ones are produced as a perfect mould of the original, but made in fiberglass and already covered in the material. Now there are a couple of fiddly little bits, but nothing too difficult. Like the light surround needs to be recovered. The fiberglass also has to be drilled and then pop riveted to its backing plate so the light can fit into it. Now look at the difference in the material. It might seem clean, but when you put it up against the new stuff, look how dirty the old stuff really is. And the side rails and the rear corners need to be stripped and recovered using a special heat-resistant glue. But trust me guys, this is a job well worth doing. It not only looks brand new, but it smells brand new. This relatively simple job really transforms the car. I then move on to the rear suspension, which is often neglected. All 6 grease nipples should be filled regularly. If not, it's simple. The car will creak like an old pram and eventually the joints will seize up. So it's then onto the rear anti-roll bar bushes, which you can purchase as a complete kit. And with both wheels off the ground, any tension in the bar is then released. It's a pretty easy job though. Some bolts might rust and might need a little bit of persuasion. And when I compare the old with the new, it looks like the metal insert has probably stayed on the bolt that went through it. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there you go. The new links are pushed back into place with new bolts and nuts. And when they're finally tightened up and everything's secure, the D-rubbers are split so they can easily be slid over the sway bar. And fitment is a reversal removal. Oh, and I forgot to mention it's exactly the same for the D-rubbers on the front sway bar, only the bolts are easily accessed through the engine bay. That should get rid of them rattling noises at the back. And it's inevitable that after the car's long layup, all the hoses are going to start to fail as soon as the car starts to be used. And that includes all the high pressure hoses to the likes of the power steering. Look at this. You can see at the last MOT a brand new steering rack has been fitted. But instead of using the proper clips, the idiots have used plastic cable ties that have cut into the high pressure hose and caused it to explode. The mind boggles. In a way, this is why cars need to be used. Because when a car's just sitting there, the rubber just simply deteriorates. You know, this might seem like a lot of work, but apart from the odd repair, this is just basic recommissioning on a car that's been sat for a long time. And although looked after, it's also suffered from lazy workmanship along the way. And I strongly recommend regular oil changes on these big V8s using a quality 2050 grade oil. When I bought the filters from the main dealers, I also purchased a full set of belts to complete the job. But hey, that's for another day, because now I'm off to see my friend and neighbour, Liverpool legend John Aldridge. John owns an XK8, the new model that succeeded the XJS when it finally entered production back in 1996. He's kindly allowed me to borrow it so I can put the cars side by side and compare the two. Wow, it's a completely different style to my one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a bit newer version, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely though. It looks like an XS missile. It looks like a bomb, doesn't it? But tell me, John, I always think of like cars, they're kind of like synonymous of what you were doing at the time. You know, it's kind of like photographs. It reminds you of what was happening when you bought the car, why you bought that particular car. I mean, where were you when you bought this? Were you at Tramia?
I was trying manager. Yeah, I was driving a nice car at the time, and I thought I'll have a change. It was either this or the Mercedes sports car.
This was cheaper, wasn't it? Actually, I think these were more expensive.
50 grand. That was in 1999.
Yeah, they were all in competition with each other, so
at that time
probably similar, you know.
You know, I never had a really good sports car, and I thought I'm going to get one. You know, I don't know why at the time, maybe, and I can't let it go. I can't let it go now. It's just it's a part of me in many ways. So it's only done 44,000 miles.
No, it's really low mileage.
Nothing, yeah. So
I'm trying to think back. I think I had a Mercedes E220 convertible.
Oh, lovely.
And every time I see one, it reminds me of when Olivia was born, my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I remember bringing Sue back from the hospital, and you know, we pulled into the garden with her in the back and all that, and I took the hood down. I hit the button for the hood as we drove in, and I'd done all the garden nice and that.
Lovely.
I had a Porsche Boxster after that, and nice. It reminds me of having India in the car in the Porsche baby seat, because there was only 2 seats and it used to go everywhere with it. It's mad, you know. It just takes you back, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, it just needs a bit of...
Yeah, it needs a few little bits, bit of TLC.
But yeah, around the trims here in particular.
Yeah. Them draw trims are a fortune.
Oh, they're really hard to find.
Rare as hell's teeth as well.
Yeah.
But we'll have a little look.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at the inside of it. I bet you any money you've got the parachute roof.
Yeah, it's fell down.
Yeah.
It fell down, so I've ordered another one.
Yeah, I'll fit that for you.
Brilliant.
Side by side, there's almost no similarities. The XK8 almost futuristic in appearance. So after its 21-year production ended in 1996, it was quickly replaced by the 32-valve 4-litre V8 engined XK8. Ford purchased the company in 1999. They then built the cars from 2001 at the Halewood plant in Liverpool. Oh, another thing I should have mentioned is, although this XJS was built in Coventry and supplied to a Nottingham dealership, it was actually delivered to its first owner in Liverpool, where it spent the first 3 years of its life before Darren and Keith purchased the car. It's almost as if she's finally come home. When I opened the bonnet, the XJS engine is just simply laid bare. Whereas the SK8 is hidden by modern plastic covers. The wheels look a lot bigger and more sporty. Inside the cabin, it looks far more luxurious, more like an Aston Martin. Move into the back, and what do you know? They've even got legroom. Look at the roof. Yep, same old story. Now looking at the two designs side by side, I'm kind of torn really. I think they're both beautiful cars, both completely different from each other in design. I will say this, the XJS has got a much firmer ride. The XK8, it's much softer and more luxurious. Yeah, there you go, John. Get your mush around that. So, John, you know, first and foremost, I'm a Liverpool fan, but, you know, you're my mate and you're a neighbour and all that. I've known you for what, 26 years now?
Yeah, yeah.
But just tell me that story you told me about, you know, how your career kicked off, and it was quite late, wasn't it? It was kind of Roy the Rover stuff.
First time I've had licking under the table here by a dog.
The
dog's licking my legs.
Yeah, I thought you were looking at me funny there, John.
First went to Liverpool to watch him play. It was the mid-60s. Remember the cop being awesome. I remember everyone.
Shankly days.
Shankly, yeah. He's like a demigod.
He was a poet, wasn't he?
Oh, he's fantastic. What a man. And then obviously Sir Roger Hunt, which he was given a knighthood by us. No one else. He should have had a knighthood, like everyone. Most of the England players who won the World Cup.
Yeah.
But they always say never meet your heroes, and it's not true. I met
Yeah.
him, and he was just the best bloke you could ever meet. And that's the reason why, thankfully, I went to watch Liverpool. You know, and I just fell in love with the club, and I wanted to play for them. You know, from that day henceforth.
So what, you played for South Liverpool, did you?
I've done all the local leagues, the Sunday League. When you've got men,
It's tough, mate.
men
Tough,
who
innit?
were bevied from the night before,
Yeah,
trying to
taking your legs
take
off.
lumps off. Yeah, well, yeah, I had all that. And I got me break. I was working as an apprentice toolmaker for British Leyland.
Wow.
And I got me break. My mate was Robin Ashurst.
Hang on, what were you making?
We made him in the tool shop.
Yeah.
For the likes of the Dolomite Sprint and the
Triumph, yeah.
the TR7.
Yeah.
The Stag, which
Yeah.
was a great car. The
Hazel.
Oh,
Nicholas Ball.
that's right. What great cars.
Do you know who wrote that, don't you? Terry Venables.
Wow.
Yeah, he co-wrote Hazel.
Wow. Robin Ashurst, his brother was Len Ashurst, manager of Newport County.
Yeah.
So we always talk football. In this city, we had nothing. We were deprived from the government and things without going into that part of it. All we had was music, sport.
Yeah.
And that's all we ever talked about.
And jokes, humour.
And humour, absolutely, yeah. And you know, we used to talk football, and then Robin went to watch me play against Runcorn, which is a local derby, and I played really well. We won 4-1.
How many did you score? Come on.
I think I got a couple. And he told there then, and the following Wednesday he came down to see me play against Frickley, and we won 3-0. I got the 3. Now that's luck. Lady luck's on your side. And he bought me for 3,500. Trammy wanted me, funny enough, and they couldn't afford the 3,500. So I went on a 1-year contract.
Yeah.
It was a big move, but I wanted it so desperately to give an opportunity of being a professional football. 1-year contract. I was going on to £82 a week as a toolmaker, plus overtime,
Yeah.
plus me footy,
Yeah.
which they took me nicely into the low 100, 120 a week.
Yeah.
Len Ashurst offered me £78 a week, £4 less than what I was going on, because he knew what their problem was on.
Yeah.
And I said, what, pay me for goals? He said, you greedy bugger. I said, I won't pay you for goals. So I went there less money for a year. And then when I started banging them in, they wanted to give me another contract. So
Was he like, thank God we didn't pay you for goals?
I don't know about that. But yeah.
So how long were you there?
I was 20 going on to 21.
And you were there for 5 years?
5 years.
So you were 25, 26, and then Oxford United came in for you?
Yeah. It was a great rise, because I went from like Saturday, Sunday leagues to Northern Premier League, to 4th Division, to 3rd Division, to 2nd Division, to the 1st Division, which is now the Premier. Yeah, so I went with the team. Couldn't have done it any better, you know, with the help of Newport. I loved Newport, loved the fans, the clubs. Well, every club I went to, I fell in love with the fans, and thankfully they fell in love with me.
But when you went to Oxford, how many years were you there?
Three and a half-ish.
So you were 28, 29 then?
Yeah.
When Liverpool came in for you?
Yeah. Rushy was going to Juventus, and we were struggling at Oxford, even though we won the League Cup. And I was quite happy to stay there and just stay with them, because the fans were great. Everything was really good. But I was scoring goals every season. And Liverpool sort of took a punt on me, because I was a Scouser first and foremost.
What a punt, John.
Banging goals in. And Rushy was leaving, and the rest is history, really.
What was your tally? Was it 50 goals?
For Liverpool League, I played 104 games and scored 63. Which,
it's not bad going, that, isn't it?
It's good, but
1 and 2.
when they sold me, I'm thinking, what did they do wrong there? It's still up there with Mo Salah as a goals per game ratio. I'm thinking, what did they do to let them go to Real Sociedad?
Just timing, and you know what? By then, you were at Liverpool 2 years. You were 30.
Yeah.
So
well,
they probably
31.
thought his legs are going to go in a year or two. So you know, let's cash in on him.
So yeah, Real Sociedad came in. La Liga, big challenge. I felt for my family because they're all home bears, Liverpool.
I think if I was a kid growing up and I was taken to, I would have been over the moon.
Yeah.
Different culture, you know, different language.
It was tough for them.
Home
it was
bed.
really tough for them. But I loved it. I love the Basques. The Basque people are fantastic people. Proud. They're very much like Liverpool and Irish. They're proud and they fight for what
Heart,
they want.
full of heart.
Full of heart. Yeah.
Do you know what, John? I know I shouldn't be saying this, but you know, the best goal I ever saw you score was that one for the Republic of Ireland against Mexico. When you were brought on, remember it was all, they were down to 10 men, he was 2-0 down, and you were standing on the sideline and he wouldn't let you on. There was something happened, there was some mistake or something, and you kicked off, and you went on. If whoever's watching, if you watch this on YouTube, it's absolutely fantastic. They bring him on, second touch of the ball, right in the back of the net, won it. You grab the ball, you ran back to the centre mark, and it was like, come on, let's get on with the game.
Let's get on with it, yeah. That wound me up so much. I didn't know the cameras were on me. I made that.
Yeah, I saw you having a little sly look.
It's funny now.
Best side and everything.
That's the first time my mum ever heard me swear, because I never swore in front of my mum.
No, we didn't.
Dad heard me a couple of times, yeah, but she was mortified. My mum, she wouldn't go out for a pint of milk or a loaf for 3 days because of the neighbours. So yeah, but the Irish loved it because it showed, you know, spirit, and that's the way I was. I was a fighter, you know. I was a really fighter on the pitch, and
it's that Irish thing as well. You know, the fans are fantastic, aren't they?
Brilliant.
You know, the Irish get behind you, don't they? They're like us, they're like Scousers, they're like
Very
Newcastle
similar.
people, you know.
Very, very similar. Yeah, absolutely spot on there. You know, I was honoured to play for the Republic of Ireland. Could have played for England, everyone knows. But you know, my mum's family from Athlone and Galway.
Yeah, I bet you never pay for a Guinness over there, John. And just deserved as well, you know. You were a mighty player for them.
And just great to have been there, done it and seen under the great Jack Charlton for 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I dreamt of Jack last night, funny enough. You just broke my dream there, yeah. I do dream of Jack quite a lot because I love the man. You know.
Great man, wasn't he? You know, for all the success you had, there must have been a few disappointments as well. I mean, one of them that springs to mind is when Arsenal beat us 2-0. The last game of the season.
Killer, yeah.
The league was ours, wasn't it? And we just sort of sat back and suddenly it just snowballed, didn't it?
It was a killer, it really was, after what we went through. You know, winning the FA Cup was the only way you could motivate yourself was to do it for the 96.
Yeah, there was Hillsborough as well, that must have been
and then we had to play
for
later.
all of us.
And Arsenal done a job on us. They got a little bit lucky in the end. You give them credit for doing it.
And then we bought Michael Thomas for the next season.
Michael's a good lad.
He was good for us, he was great.
Yeah, he's a good lad, mate. But that along with the obviously the FA Cup, Wimbledon Cup final, they were low points, big time for me, you know. You take it, I thought let everyone down with the penalty.
It happens though, there's a lot of pressure. Look, remember Robbie Fowler when he was playing for City? Like last kick of the game, penalty, and it would have put them into the Champions League, and they saved it. Wow. So you know what I mean? That's a massive one. They would have been playing Champions League football.
It doesn't matter.
They're a proper team, they're not Man United.
It doesn't matter. Robbie wouldn't hurt Robbie too much. If it was Liverpool, it would destroy him. Not Manchester City so much.
Come on, John. Should we go to Boozer?
Why not? Sounds good.
Come on.
Good shout.
Thank you for watching this episode of Gary Mavers' Classic Obsession, and join me next time when I finally finish the Jags recommission and take it on its first big drive back up to the Derbyshire Dales.